So you've decided to leave Trello. Look, I get it. I'm not quite ready to jump ship just yet. I'm still too curious to see what direction they're heading, but I get it. A lot of you really, really don't like the changes that they've been rolling out, and you feel like they're not listening. And we talked about that last week over on the podcast. I had thoughts about how some people are sharing their feedback, but I do understand not all of the choices that they're making are things that I love. But like I said, they haven't taken it so far yet that it's not working for me anymore. So I'll be sticking with it for at least the foreseeable future. And I'm going to continue doing Trello tutorials right here on the channel. But if you've reached the point where you're just done, you are over it and you're going to move on, what next? There are lots of options out there, right? You've got ClickUp, Asana, Airtable, Notion, Todoist. I mean, so many choices. And one of them may be exactly what you're looking for. But how do you have a smooth transition so that you don't just spend a bunch of time spinning your wheels, recreating everything, only to discover that, hey, this tool wasn't what you actually needed either? That's what we're going to talk about this week. But before we dive into this, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so that you never miss a tutorial or upload. Before you jump ship, I just want to remind you that no platform is perfect. So I get it that you're upset with Trello right now. You're not happy with the choices that they're making. But when it comes to choosing software for your business, choosing platforms, I hate to say it, but it can't be solely an emotional decision. There's too much time and too much money invested in the platform that you're in, but also in the time it will take you to transition fully into a new platform. So if you feel like there's even the slightest possibility that your desire to change is a knee-jerk reaction, and maybe you can wait it out a little bit, see where they're actually headed and where this product lands over the next couple of months, then I would highly recommend that you do that. Not for Trello's sake, for your sake, because honestly, it's a lot of work to transition to new platform. And if you're doing it because you're frustrated right now, it may turn out that you end up just as frustrated with the new platform because you made the decision out of the wrong reasons. If that's the case, just take a deep breath and put a date on your calendar. Give it a couple of months, 2-3 months, not only for you to settle into the changes and just kind of maybe get used to what's going on and realize that it's not as bad as it feels right now, but also give Trello some time to really listen to the feedback and maybe make some course corrections here. Now, they still might not. And in a couple of months, when that time comes up on your calendar, you may decide, yeah, I'm still going to leave. This is not an emotional decision now. This is a rational one. Okay, great. When you mark that on your calendar, make sure that you also link back to this video, because when the time comes for you to make a change, if the time comes, you're going to want to be able to refer back to these tips that I'm about to give you. Do keep in mind, though, that if you do decide in a completely logical, non-emotional reaction that you are going to leave Trello and go somewhere else, just remember that all the things that you loved about Trello are kind of unique to Trello. You will find similar things in other platforms, but you're not going to find everything that you loved about classic Trello, okay? So you really need to have a clear set of priorities for what you need moving forward. What does the new platform have to have? What are your non-negotiables? Maybe it's about price for you. Maybe the price point is super important and you need to make sure that it's not going to break the bank. Honestly, I think that should be at least on your list somewhere, even if it's not number one. Maybe it's the fact that you're able to easily collaborate with your team or with external people like clients or students, things like that. Maybe it's the automation. Maybe you like the fact that it makes you more efficient because you're able to set up rules so that when you take your normal actions throughout your workflow, throughout your process, that other things just kind of happen on their own. Maybe you just really like how Trello automation is built. Awesome. Maybe it's the aesthetic. Maybe you really like the fact that you can put your own background images and you can bring a lot of color and light into your Trello boards. And maybe it's something totally different. These things you will find in other platforms, but you may not find all of them. So you need to know, what are your top 3 or 4 priorities, which things are non-negotiables and which are nice to haves, and start your search from there. I hate to break it to you, but you're probably not going to check off all the boxes on your wish list. However, you can and likely will find the tool that is the best fit for you. So once you've narrowed it down to the one tool that you think might become your new business best friend, what do you do now? Do you just hunker down and start rebuilding everything from scratch? Or is there maybe a more strategic way you can approach this? Obviously, I think there's a more strategic way. So let me give you a couple of tips, a couple of things that I do when I need to migrate from one tool to the next. And hopefully it will help make this transition as smooth for you as possible. The first thing I would suggest is that you clone your most used Trello boards first. 1 or 2 max. Don't go rebuilding everything you've ever created in Trello or everything that's active in your account. What are the 1 or 2 boards that you cannot live without in your business? Try to recreate those first. Now, if you're moving into a tool where you're able to import, you might be able to export the CSV from Trello and then import it into the new tool, or use a tool like Zapier or Make. Sometimes you can use those tools to migrate from one system into the other. But typically what they're not going to do is set up things like automation for you. They're not going to set up aesthetics. They're really more of a data transfer, okay? So like I said, create 1 or 2 max boards that you absolutely cannot live without in your business. Once you've done that, you're going to run a dual system for 1 to 2 weeks. I know, it's like the anti-efficiency, but it's the only way that you're going to be able to really compare what this new tool is doing, how it's going to work for you compared to the one that you've been working in for so long. So yes, it's going to be annoying. Yes, it's going to be a pain point for you, your team, your clients, anybody that's going to be involved in this. So if it's not just you, make sure that you give people a heads up, help them understand, hey, this is going to be a process for us. This is going to be a little bit annoying, but this is how we're going to make sure that we don't have to keep making transitions like this, right? So 1 to 2 weeks, run a dual system, do all of your work in both systems at the same time so that you can really evaluate how this new tool works and if it really is going to be the right fit for you. At the end of those 2 weeks, that's when you're going to want to start to gather feedback. So if it's external people, maybe create them a little form or something using Google Forms or whatever so that they can fill out a little survey and give you their feedback. And then you can take a look at it and say, okay, I think this is going to be a good fit for most people. Again, you're not going to get 100% buy-in on something. That's just not realistic. But this is going to be probably the best choice here. Or, you know what, it turns out this is not the right option. I hate to say it, but we're going to have to go back to the drawing board, look for something else. Or in that moment, reevaluate, is it actually worth leaving Trello? Because are we going to find something better out there? Or is this a situation where we just think the grass is greener, but it's really not, right? Which is why we do the testing the way that we do, because then you haven't completely jumped ship into a new system only to discover that the one you were already in is actually the better fit still. And if it's just you, just sit down and make a list of the pros and cons. What are the things that you like about the new tool? What are the things that were actually better in the other one? Weigh it out. Is the new tool actually a better fit for you and what you need? And if you do decide, yes, this new tool is going to be it, then you want to be strategic about transitioning. It's not realistic to say that you're going to just move everything over at the same time. Just like you prioritize that first and possibly second board for your testing period, now go through and look at, okay, well, what are the next maybe 2 to 3 boards that we use the most, and slowly, gradually transition yourself over. In fact, it's probably something that you can use your new tool for, right? Create a board or a page or whatever it's called in the new tool, and use that as a way to help you track and manage the migration from Trello into this new tool. It's also a great way for you to really get more and more familiar with this new tool as you use it to help you migrate from one to the other. But make sure you keep it gradual. Anytime you try to do a major transition just all at once without any strategy or plan, let me tell you, it is incredibly overwhelming. And ultimately, things get missed, things get lost, and you end up in a worse place than you were when you started. So if you do decide to leave Trello, I hope these tips help make this as smooth a transition as possible. And if you are leaving, let me know in the comments, what was it about the new Trello that made you finally leave? What was the last straw? And where did you decide to go? The online tools for your business do not need to be complicated and overwhelming. It's time to let it be easy. I hope you liked that video, and more importantly, that you found it helpful. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel and sharing it with a fellow solopreneur. And make sure you check out the description for links to how we can connect and maybe even work together.